Happy New Year, our team is back in action, and we've got a doozy of a developer update in store for you today. In this edition, we'll be covering everything coming day by day, blah, 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 blah. Various killer, perk, and map updates, and more. So, first things first, we've got Generator. Can you guys, do you want me to zoom in? Is that better? There we go, that's better. Cool. Generators. Now, this is something that I've been really nervous about because obviously as a killer main, I don't know which way they were going to go. I've seen a snippet of this and it looks like it's good for killers, but I haven't seen the whole thing. So, kicking things off, no pun intended, lol. We have a few updates to generators. More specifically, these changes target how generators are damaged by the killer and how their regression can be stopped by survivors. The goal with this update is to bring an end to excessively long matches, 3-gen scenarios in particular, and at the same time improve the killer's ability to damage generators. Okay, that sounds good. 3-gen scenarios are those where the killer aims to defend 3 generators that are close by in any particular, and does not participate in normal gameplay, not chasing survivors, etc. In this instance, survivors are not able to make any meaningful progress to those generators. Going forward, each generator can only suffer from a maximum of 8 regression events. Okay. Where a regression event is any time the killer or their perks removes at least 2.5% of the generator's progress in an instant. An indicator will show the killer if a generator can no longer be damaged. In the overwhelming majority of games, this will not come into play. However, in scenarios where the killer is defending a set of generators and refusing to chase survivors, there will eventually come a point where they no longer damage the generator, helping bring an end to excessively long matches. So now I see why people are mentioning Ruin a lot, because obviously Ruin is a consistent regression. But I'll get to the end of it and then we'll talk about it. At the same time, we want to address a point of frustration for killers as well. Survivors working on a generator briefly to stop it from regressing, or gen tapping for short. Given that the number of regression events is now limited, stopping a generator from regressing is more meaningful than ever. To prevent survivors from tapping a generator to negate one of those regression events, we have made 2 changes. The base damage from kicking a generator has been increased to 5% from 2.5%. Which is nice. At least 5% of the generator's total charges must be repaired to stop regression. Otherwise, it will begin regressing again when the survivor stops repairing. This will help ensure the killer always gets some value from kicking a generator and encourage survivors to think twice before attempting to stop the regression. Interesting. Is that everything to do with the generators? Oh, hang on. Yeah. Right, let's talk about that first and then we'll get into it. So, you say Ruin got changed as well? Okay. Before we continue then, I might quickly check out the Ruin change. Just so I can not speculate about it too much. Right. Let's just look at this. We toned this perk down. I don't need to explain it. We toned this perk down in a previous update. In retrospect, since the perk could already be disabled by being cleansed, the added activation condition did not feel necessary. Hex Ruin is no longer disabled once the survivor is killed or sacrificed. Interesting. I think that's good, personally. Right. Okay, so the change is only to how to get rid of it. So, I think that's good. I don't mind that change too much. I would say I feel like they should have waited before making that change. They should have seen how it would behave. Unless they have already done tests on it. But I think they're making... It's a lot of changes in one go. Obviously with everything. But in particular, changing how the generators function and then changing a very powerful perk is interesting. But regardless, I like that. I don't run Ruin very often, so it doesn't really benefit me too much. But I think it's healthy. I often thought Ruin was a bit... Well, I suppose if it's the first death, it was fine. But I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Ruin, but we'll see. It does mean it's more viable again. I don't mind it too much, but I get it can be annoying. So, first things first, what were we looking at? So, each generator can only suffer a maximum of 8 regression events. Now, I think that's fine. Because when you think about it, realistically, how many times do you kick a singular generator over the course of a match? before it's popped. And so it takes longer to finish gens now. It doesn't necessarily take longer to finish gens. I mean, yes and no. The killer can technically damage it. When he kicks it, or then they kick it, it does twice as much. Too often because I don't know how they work. There you go. Okay. What it is that killers are going to have to think a little bit more about when they kick a generator, which I think is important. It means that perks like Nowhere to Hide, for example, can't be, or Pop Goes the Weasel. You're not necessarily going to, like, use it. Like, if you're passing a generator and you think, oh, should I kick it or not? It's low. It's not really, like, pushed very far. You might not want to kick it straight away. You might need to think about it a little bit more. If you have Pop Goes the Weasel, you might want to be like, okay, I need to make sure this is only used on generators that are actually 50% or more kind of thing, where I'm going to get value from it and use up one of those regression charges. I think it would be nice if the killer knows how many regressions it has on it, but I think that might be a bit complicated to do. Maybe a little icon, like a little bar icon on the top or something to show it, but I don't think that's realistically going to work. At least not in a nice visual manner. Make Surge something interesting to think about as well. Exactly. So Surge, English is my third language, so I'm a bit slow to understand. That's fine. We can anything you need to be explained, we're happy to explain more. So what they're saying is that the damage a kick does is twice as much. It never was much. It was 2.5 before. Obviously, the big damage is in the regression itself. It doesn't look like the speed that it regresses changes, which is good. But now it's 5%, which is quite nice, and it makes it more valuable to do that kick. But people are going to have to think more about when they kick. You can't just go, like, if you have Nowhere to Hide, you can't just be like, oh, this gen's got one smidgen of a touch on it, I'm going to kick it and hope for the best. But it also means that survivors can do little bits of work on a generator. Imagine, if you will, you find, like, you know, you put a little bit of work into a gen and the killer kicks it, right? It encourages people to work on separate gens, because if you progress separate gens and a killer kicks it, they then use one of those charges. If you go back and do it and they come over and they kick it, it does one of those charges. So you can kind of try to bait out some kicks if you can, and it means that the killer can't just 3-gen. The lights on the gen could be a nice way to show the amount of regression events, but that won't be how it works. That would be pretty cool, actually. That would be pretty cool. Something like how much it flashes or whatever, but maybe they could have lights going down the actual thing or something. I kind of like this 8 kick thing. Honestly, I really like it. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it changes the way the game's going to function a little bit. And this is coming from a killer main who has benefited from 3 gens. I think my Legion is going to struggle a bit. Legion's definitely going to struggle a little bit. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll see during the PTB how it works. Yeah. We'll see how it works. I think it'll be interesting. I'm skeptical, but honestly, I think it's a really bold change. I think it's a bold change. People complain that behavior has, you know, no aspirations with it, or they're slow to deal with things, or I don't know, 3-genning's been a thing forever, but, you know, I think people don't like the way behavior does things, or at least, like, maybe they do things too small or whatever. I think this is great because it's just going to be a massive shift in the PTB to try out. I just hope that they listen to the PTB. I hope that they listen to the players when people are saying, no, this doesn't work. I hope they listen to it, and I'd rather they scrap it or stop it and go, okay, we're going to work on it more. We're going to delay it, carry on as you were. Maybe during the event or during the PTB, there'll be things that they'll look at and go, you know what? The 8 regression events is a bit too much, or maybe it's not enough, or maybe there needs to be... Do you know what I mean? So I think they might be able to pick bits out of it as well, which I think will be cool. I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. And I will say, one of my favorite things about it, and this is also... And I don't mind it as a survivor. Obviously, I main killer, but I think I play pretty 50-50 at the moment, so I almost can't call myself a killer main anymore. Hello, no, welcome. I think that the 5% of a generator must be repaired to stop regression. I think that's awesome. I think that's really, really awesome. It makes sense. It stops gen tapping, which I know is a good strategy for survivors, but it's really annoying. The fact that a killer can kick a gen and walk away, and the survivor can come out and just go, doop, and it stops. They can go, boop, and just walk away, and it stops. That can be really annoying as a killer. I know, like, I don't want to side on either way, but, like, I like to think that it's a balance. It's a balance. Like, yeah, it's annoying as fuck, but it's a good balance, because nobody can look at this and go, wow, 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 you're siding with killer. Wow, 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 you're siding with survivor. I look at this and go, you know, they've nerfed it for killers because there's a certain amount of events and something else. I can't remember what it was. Or is it just the events? I think it's the certain amount of events. So they've nerfed it because the killer can only kick a gen so many times. The 3 gen gets a bit fucked. However, the increase of 5% kick and the gen tapping removal is really good. And I think it also counters the, you know, it not counters it completely, but I think I was saying the other day, the speed that gens get done is really annoying. Like, I'm not against it. And this is coming from somebody that runs I regularly like to run a gen rush build. I find it fun because gens are the boring part of the game, really. It's the chases that are fun. I want to get the gens done and then get in chases and stuff like that. I'll run a gen rush build because it's effective and it works. And then if I get chased, I have to work extra hard to get away because I don't have any perks to help me. I think it's a fun playstyle. And this is going to be interesting. They come over and kick it. Can I get it repaired effectively? Do you know what I mean? And I think it's a really good solution to the 3 gen. Think about how many times the killer just goes back and forth, 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 back and forth. No more. No more. Once you reach those 8 charges, every single time you go over to a generator and that survivor runs off and you kick it, and then suddenly you haven't got any more charges, you go up to that generator, you have to start chasing. You have to start chasing. It will encourage the killer to start chasing. I just really hope it doesn't fuck killers over. I really hope it doesn't fuck killers over. Prepare to see Deja Vu just get a fucking massive spike. Anyway, I'm overall pretty happy with the generators, and I think before we all start complaining or crying or anything like that, let's see how it goes in the PTB. Let's try to enjoy it. Go in with a good mindset. Please go in with a good mindset. Don't go in as a killer thinking, wah, 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 8 events. And don't go in as a survivor going, wow, 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 I can't gen tap. Just think of it as a change where you have to adapt to it and learn a little bit about the game. We'll have to wait to see the effects, though. Exactly. Like, I'm more than happy to go in and look at it and go, actually, you know what? I've tried it enough, and it feels a bit broken in one side or the other. It could use a tweak here or there. I'd be more than happy to say that, but just go in with an open mind. Go in with an open mind and try to think from both perspectives. Always try to think from both perspectives, from survivor and killer. I'm fortunate that I play both, so I get a little bit of both. Some people don't, so just try to... Both sides. Anyway, let's move on from generators. That's really cool. I hope you guys don't mind me talking so much. This stuff's really interesting, and I never get a chance to really properly go over these things, and this is a big one. Right. I've been very excited about this. The field of view setting. As I am Yolan, I think from a third perspective as a noob. That's brilliant. I love that. You're not a noob, but I love the attitude there. That's funny. Right. So before we read this, let's quickly check the changes to... no, let's read this first and then I'll look at the Shadowborn changes. I'll try not to have an opinion until I have the Shadowborn changes. So, FOV setting. Is Shadowborn permanently locked into one of your perk slots? Well, that's about to change thanks to the new first-person field of view slider. Starting with this update, killers in first person will be able to adjust their field of view to something they're more comfortable with. I like they specified killers in first person, so Chucky's not affected by it. Is Chucky affected by Shadowborn? Currently. Does it actually widen it on Chucky? I've never even checked, actually. Has anyone actually checked? I never even thought to check that. Ranging from 87 degrees, the current default, to 103, the current maximum of Shadowborn. Not as far as I'm aware. Okay, fair enough. So, we're just going to get built-in Shadowborn. I think that's dope. I like that. Shadowborn is one of those things that's, I think, really good. This is another thing as well, alongside the generators. Obviously, if killers think the generator, like, you've got 3 gens, which are going to be reduced, which in itself is kind of a nerf to killers, but the survivors also have something they have to deal with over the whole thing, so obviously it's both sides. This is a nice little buff for killers. I like it. I think an extra few degrees is really handy. Shadowborn's so fun, and it makes you feel really zoomy. Your games are going to feel really smooth and zoomy. Hello, Amy. Welcome, welcome. Did you miss what? Oh, the reveal. No, you didn't. Not yet. Not yet. Perks which alter your field of view, Shadowborn and Monitor, will need to be adjusted. We'll cover exactly how those perks are changing later in this post. Bear in mind, this option only applies to first-person field of view and therefore will not affect survivors. Since survivors play the game from the third-person POV, a wider field of view would add to an already advantageous camera view. I completely agree with that. Initially, this feature will be accessible through the beta tab in-game. Nice, nice. Cool, so remember, survivors, no crying about this. In terms of the cameras, survivors already have a wide camera angle. That is the whole point of it. I didn't like the camera angle of Killer, not gonna lie. I felt like I saw less. Exactly. Ooh, as Legion, this is quite nice, because the amount of times they fucking get you on the field of view issue. No more FOV tech. FOV. Oh, FOV teched him. Ooh. Yeah, we saw a TikTok earlier where every time they came out the window, the survivor would, like, hug the window and go through them. That will hopefully be a little bit more nerfed. Right. Ooh, we're into the killer changes. However, we're going to move on to look at Monitor and Abuse and Shadowborn, because I am so curious how they've done this. And then we'll look at the other changes. Right. Don't read anything else. Right. Shadowborn, Monitor and Abuse. So, with the new FOV slider being introduced, Shadowborn is now obsolete and needs a new effect. When blinded, by any means, gain up to 10% haste effect for 10 seconds. Ooh, I like that. And this is on the cusp of having fucking Alan Wake potentially being in here with a flashlight. Like, I mean, that's pretty relevant. That's pretty relevant. I don't know when this is coming, actually. I think it's more revealed. It'll be in the PTB this month, I think. Hopefully this month. They haven't confirmed, I don't think. Oh, is the PTB actually tomorrow? Oh, in that case, it's tomorrow. Oh, we'll see. I don't know. Huh? Oh, George said that. Okay. So, yeah. I really like this. I think that's cool. Well, I almost asked how are killers blinded. Amazing. The only thing I will say about this is... I don't think it's going to be used that often over Lightborn. I would rather just not get blinded and see their aura for however, like what? It's a 6-second aura on Lightborn and you don't get blinded. I'd rather that than a speed boost for 10 seconds. A speed boost can be very strong, but bear in mind you get blinded. You're blinded for 2 seconds or something. It doesn't have a cooldown, so it would technically work. Actually, oh, it could be quite interesting. Because, yeah, Wraith is free as well, so that's pretty interesting. And I suppose when they blind you, sometimes you get those people that blind like 3 times in a row. It might prevent that a little bit more. I don't know. I think Lightborn will still be a much stronger perk than this, but I think it will be interesting. I think it'll be very interesting. You know, if you get somebody... if you get Blast Mind, you probably won't last very long because you have to kick it again. But still. Anyway, moving on. Likewise, the field of view... So, for Monitor and Abuse. Likewise, the FOV altering effects of Monitor and Abuse are now unnecessary considering the added FOV slider. Monitor and Abuse allows for some interesting niche playstyles as is. So, we have simply removed the FOV adjustment from this perk and left the terror radius effects unchanged. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I don't mind that. That makes sense. If it's not needed, it's not needed. It's technically a nerf. It's technically a nerf, but it still technically is exactly the same. It's like a nerf, but not, I guess, because it loses it, but that's already built in. does it technically lose value at that point? I don't think it does. Nobody ever really takes it for the field of view, realistically. You take it for the terror radius. Where do we find this article? There's a post in the Discord. I have no idea where else. I mean, I can... Hang on. Let me... Just for you guys here now. There you go. But it's in the Discord if you guys want to join. I think that's fine. I like those changes. I think that's great. And it's something that could be... Just bear in mind, before anybody says, oh, that's a shit perk or whatever. Like, I don't think it'll be as strong as Lightborn. It will be for interesting plays. 10 seconds is longer than you're thinking, I suppose. And, yeah, if you're getting blinded... Not to mention, if you combine that with the one where if they blind you, it blinds them. Combined together, that could be quite interesting. You get blinded, they get blinded, and you're moving 10% quicker. Could be very cool, especially as some killers, like, if you take, for example, like, Nurse or Blight, people that can, like, fucking run at you quite quickly, is definitely going to be quite interesting. So, we'll see. That is a thing, yeah. There's a Chucky perk, which is when you get blinded... They get blinded for 2.5 seconds or 1.5 seconds. But it's a hex. It's a hex. So the hex has to be up. Yeah. It does. I don't see it very often. I barely see it. It's happened to me like twice. Cool. So that's the field of view settings and then the FOV perks being changed. So let's move on. These are the killers. So we'll go through all three. We've got Onryo, we've got Hillbilly, and then I believe Blight's add-ons. Now, Blight's add-ons I'm very excited for. Because I feel like they're quite strong, and I'll be interested to see how they change it. But Onryo is where we're really looking. And Leo will be quite interested in this, because Leo mains Onryo, so... Right, the Onryo. A few months ago, we released a major update to the Onryo. Though some players were pleased with the changes, of course, yeah, very strong, with the right add-ons, many long-time Onryo mains felt that her gameplay had changed too much from the killer they once loved. In this update, we want to revisit Sadako once more to find a middle ground which better appeals to all her players, old and new. That's good. That's nice. I like that. The Condemned. In the last update, Condemned would spread to all survivors who were not holding a tape whenever Sadako projected to a TV. They changing this? Interesting. This allowed her to spread her curse more often, but many felt that this favoured teleporting as soon as possible rather than strategically during a chase. We have a few changes in mind to restore this gameplay while keeping Condemned more prominent. Good. When the Onryo teleports, survivors within 16 meters of a powered TV will receive a stack of Condemned. The teleport cooldown has been removed, allowing her to teleport more frequently. Let's go. When a survivor is hooked, their current Condemned progress becomes locked in, preventing it from being removed. Interesting. This will make it very risky for survivors to ignore Sadako's curse. Survivors will want to shut off nearby TVs and deposit their tapes before it's too late. And speaking of tapes, I'm going to go through the whole thing and then we'll talk about it. We'll go through the whole thing first. Oh my god, there's so much. Cursed tapes. We've also reviewed the way tapes work to bring back some of their fondly remembered behavior. Or behavior, I guess. Yeah. Cursed tapes no longer protect survivors from gaining Condemned. Good. Cursed tapes are no longer destroyed or inflict Condemned when a survivor's hit. Very good. The cursed tapes can only be deposited in the furthest TV. So they're adding the iridescent into her base kit. I imagine that's what the add-on change is down below. That's kind of cool. This is very cool. This will once again force survivors to spend some time crossing the map in order to delay the curse. Now, I know... Now, look. Before any survivors start crying about this, before you start crying about a fucking tape you have to run across the thing, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Wait, hang on. The only thing up... No, wait. We'll get into it in a minute. Demanifested. The previous update made is so the Onryo couldn't start a chase while demanifested. This had a side effect of making it very obvious when she demanifested in the middle of a chase, allowing survivors to anticipate and play around it. The Onryo can now chase survivors while demanifested. Additionally, many pointed out that one of Onryo's changed add-ons, Raiko's watch, was very fun to use. Rather than add the effect back into the add-on, we instead incorporate it into a base kit to make the add-on feel less essential. The duration of invisibility while demanifested has been increased to 1.2 seconds. Oh god. I don't like that because it fucking confused me, but that's pretty cool. The cooldown is risky, I know. With all these changes in mind, we reviewed the handful of Onryo's add-ons, which either no longer have purpose or promote strongly disliked playstyles. Oh, they're not showing it here. So, wait. Is there... I'm confused. Did I miss something? Fair enough. Did I miss something about the add-ons? Is there... Because surely if the... No, but the curse tapes can only be deposited in the furthest TV from when they're picked up. Where does it show the change to the iridescent add-on then? I'm very confused. Am I being silly? What happens to the iridescent tape? How does that work? This is a dev update, not a change log. Okay. So they haven't mentioned it here. Right. Okay. Sorry, that's what I meant. I didn't know if this was like confirmation and stuff. Okay, so let's talk about that. The Onryo. What do we think? I personally think this is pretty good. I'm really happy with this. Obviously, I think, again, it's going to be a see how she functions. But I think it's going to be really strong. It's going to be weakened where it needs to be weakened, strengthened where it needs to be strengthened. The teleport cooldown being removed is going to be fucking weird and interesting. But I'm assuming... So it looks like the tapes themselves, the only thing the tape does is turns off a TV. Is that right? No, sorry. Removes condemned, but turns off a TV. So that's quite interesting. My only gripe with it is that the only way to build condemned is with them being within the range of the TV. And my problem is, what happens if the RNG of the TVs is really shit? As long as the TV... I mean, I don't know if the TV's positionings will change, but, you know, what's gonna happen with that? TVs are normally next to gens. Okay, fair enough. Okay, as long as the locations of the TVs are good, then that's great. It's similar to... it reminds me of Singularity. You have to think a little bit more about his cameras and stuff like that. You need to get the things to, like, blast them. I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. I like the teleport. I love a character that can move about, but we do need to be wary that is going to be a lot of teleporting. That is a lot of teleporting. She's going to move quickly. Like, that's going to be very scary. But I think it will make her the dominant teleporting character. Dredge is very powerful in his teleports, but he has his night mode thing. And he can also bounce around. And there's no restrictions to it. So obviously it has to be cooled down a little bit. Whereas with Onryo, being able to just go bam, 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 bam. Survivors are really going to have to think about those TVs. If you don't turn those TVs off, we're going to struggle. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's going to be cool. But if you do manage to nerf all the TV, get all the TVs shut off and stuff, and it's going to really limit where she can teleport. Already makes her small closer to gens, but it will make her even more map dependent. This is true, but we'll see. Because also it will be very good within chases, because while you're chasing, you can teleport as much as you want if they're running near a TV. So that's going to be very like Hag-like, where rather than waiting for them to trigger a trap, if you know there's a TV there, you just whoop straight through it. You can hear the dredge coming from 7 miles away. Exactly. I think that's going to be really cool. Hopefully not too strong, but it's definitely going to be... She's going to have good map presence. I run a Devour build, so I'm pretty happy with the teleport, meaning I can just constantly go back and check if the TV's on. The tapes as well, no longer protecting from condemned, which is great, so you don't have to fucking worry about getting it. And then if you get hit, which is... The problem I had is you need a tape, otherwise you build it. You're going to get hit quite easily, very often. So then you build it. Like, you're meant to be able to get hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the one problem I had was it sucked where you're like, oh, I can't take a fucking hit. And she's moving fast, teleporting and everything. So No longer destroyed or inflict... Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Curse tapes. Okay, so they don't break when you get hit either, which is cool. That's actually really nice. And also, it stops you from, you're nearly there, you're nearly condemned, and she starts chasing you. She can't just fucking teleport to where you're going and just keep following you and hope it builds up. When you TP2, it turns it off, though. No, very true. Very true. Very true. But they do often come back quite quickly as well, I think. I don't know her TV stuff very well, but I think it's going to be cool. I'm really excited. And the demanifestation, I think that's good. I think that's fine. It prevents you from abusing, like, play with your food and whatnot. You can't just keep on going off, build a stack, come back out, off, build a stack, come back out. And that makes Wraith a little bit more... It makes Wraith a better stealth killer because Onryo could do what Wraith does pretty much. Whereas now, Wraith is a bit more unique. He goes invisible, he is invisible. Terror radius, gone, everything. If you want to use play with your food, you find your obsession, you can be like, chase, ding dong, hide, stops chase, ding dong, hide, if you really want to. Stuff like that. So, very cool. Really cool. I like it. Right. Hillbilly! It's Billy Boy time! It has been a long time coming for Billy Boy. I know a lot of people complain about him getting nerfed into the fucking ground. Poor guy. I think I'd play Onryo more after the PTB. I'm very excited. I'll definitely give her a go in the PTB. I mean, all it takes to stop Chase is to turn around Lamount. No, true, but it's not the funnest thing having... People can't coordinate that well. Come on. Right, so... watch out, survivors. It looks like someone unwrapped a brand new chainsaw. It's the Hillbilly. So I've heard about the overheat. Overdrive. The controversial overheat mechanic is no more. Overdrive is the new talk of the town. As the Hillbilly uses his chainsaw, it will generate heat just like before. When the heat meter is full, not only will he continue being able to use it, but his chainsaw will kick into overdrive and gain effects for 20 seconds. Chainsaw charge speed is increased by 5%. His chainsaw sprint movement speed increased to 13 meters per second. I don't know what it was before. Chainsaw sprint cooldowns are reduced by 10%. That's very cool. Short version, heat is good. I like that. It's a bit more chaotic. It's a bit more like, yeah, fucking let's go. It's not, oh, I better make sure my chainsaw doesn't break. No, it's fucking, let's fucking go. That's going to be really cool. I also really like this. The chainsaw charge speed is increased by 5%. And the move speed is great because think about that first charge. You come in, you've got Lethal Pursuer, you got Barbecue Chili or whatever. Anytime that aura pings, you sit there and you rev that shit up. Bang. Off you go. 20 seconds of power right there. Hillbillies won't leave me alone now. I know. That was so funny. They did before. Before what? Sorry. Oh, what? They left Olga alone? No, we're talking about yesterday where she got killed over and over again. So cleaning up. Interesting. At the same time, we've made some general improvements to the Hillbilly's kit and smoothed out some of the rough edges. Does this mean... Oh, it means he bounces more, doesn't it? Yes! Or not bounces, but doesn't collide. The base chainsaw sprint movement speed has been increased by 10%. Reduce the size of the chainsaw's collision detection to make chainsaw sprints more maneuverable in maps with high-density tiles. Really nice. Camera sensitivity is no longer incorrectly tied to the controller sensitivity setting while using a mouse and keyboard. Chainsaw controls are now equal to 100% sensitivity before. That's fucking interesting. So... Oh, that's interesting. So now mouse and keyboard will be a bit more viable for Billy. That's cool. I mean, I got used to the Q&E, but still. I hope this means there'll be more Billies. Absolutely. I fucking love Billies. Add-ons. Last but certainly not least, we have done a pass on the Hillbillies add-ons with these changes in mind. The blog post is long enough as it is, so keep an eye on the patch notes. Okay. Oh, keep an eye on the patch notes on the PTB goes live. Interesting. I'm very excited. We'll do another thing when it comes to that. The Blights add-ons. Here we go. Next up, we have changes in store for a handful of the Blights add-ons. Blighted Rat and Blighted Crow. I don't remember what... I'm not the most efficient with his, so excuse me if I don't know much about him. These add-ons are fairly strong, making it far more difficult to get out of the way of his rush in time. We have reduced the rush speed bonus of these add-ons to 2% and 3% respectively. Was 4 and 6. That's good. Half. Working well because of the controller sensitivity. Oh, yeah, no, it's still good. That's really good. Immediately, just a hard enough. We love that. Adrenaline Vial. This add-on has a lot going on, making it jack of all trades. To simply it Oh, to simply it. No, it's not simplify. It's to simply it and bring it closer in line with other options. We're removing the effects. No longer decrease time to recharge a rush token by 1 second. No longer increase rush speed. The add-on now does the following. Max rush tokens by 2. Max rush look angle by 20 degrees. Decrease rush turn rate by 55%. Interesting. Blightmane's about to be mad. You notice the error. Yeah. They will be mad, but they have one of the strongest killers in the game, so you can get over it. Can't believe we don't have a nurse nerf yet. Another one. Alchemist Ring. Here, this is a very strong one. The one you probably aren't surprised to see on the list. Restoring rush tokens on hit is incredibly powerful, so we've reworked it. Increases rush duration by 20% for each consecutive rush. Nice. Pretty simple. Makes it a lot weaker. Pretty decent. I like it. I think that's fine. I think that's really good. Combat 33. Reducing the survivor's movement speed acts very similarly to increasing the Blight's rush speed. We decided the best course of action is to give this add-on a new effect. Each consecutive rush which is longer than 4 meters, increases turn rate by 33%. That's interesting. So if you go for long rushes, I like it. They're making his playstyle a little bit more like you need to go for like longer, more consecutive bounces kind of thing. You can choose. You can sort of be like, I want to be more of a bang, 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 or I want to be more of a bit more of a Billy. Do you know what I mean? A Billy that can just go donk, 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 donk. That's cool. What else is there? Iridescent Blight Tag. This add-on can also be extremely powerful in the right hands. It also promotes the awkward gameplay of repeatedly slamming into a wall to take advantage of the effects of the last rush. We've given this add-on a brand new effect as well. Enables rush to be performed without spending tokens. Rush bonuses are capped after 3 consecutive rushes. Blighted Corruption goes on cooldown for 20 seconds after a successful lethal rush. That's interesting. Enables rush to be performed without spending tokens. Rush bonuses are capped after 3 consecutive rushes. What did it do before? Blighted Corruption goes on cooldown for 20 seconds after a successful lethal rush attack. What's Blighted Corruption? Sorry. Am I being really dumb? If I see Blight or a nurse, I fall over. That's fair. I'm not hugely familiar with this, but I mean, you guys can tell me more about it. But that's cool. I'm happy with it. I like just nerfs. I think he just needs a straight up nerf, and they've done that. Or they've reworked some bits, which is cool. I'll be interested to see. Say the best for last rework is tragic, by the way. All right. On to the perks then. On to the perks. So that was the Blight. I'm not overly caring of it, other than the fact that it'll be nice to have him a bit weaker. But personally, I never found him to be too much of an issue, but he is a very tough killer. He is a tough killer. I think I just like his playstyle, so as in to go against, so I'm not overly against it. But we'll see. I feel like I'm a little bit upset there. Right. Oh, good lord. Oh, good lord. Here we go. Save the best for last. It needs a nerf, let's be honest. This perk indirectly became stronger when the successful basic attack cooldown was reduced some time ago. Certain killers can also circumvent the downside by using their special attack to injure the obsession. To tone it down and make it more consistent across all killers, we've made the following changes. Each token grants a stackable 4% decrease, which was 5 to basic attack cooldowns. 2 tokens are lost when the obsession loses a health state by any means. Was basic attacks. I think that's fine. I think that's good. Nah, I think it's good. I think it's good. Like, there certain characters, because like think about like obviously Deathslinger. Deathslinger super strong with this. Like, it made him so powerful because even locker grabs. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's 2 tokens. It's 2 tokens. You can ignore the obsession. If you want, you can just ignore the obsession. It is what it is. And I think as well, it will make it a lot more, like, obvious when they have it. So, if you see them go after the obsession and they go, oh, wait, this is the obsession, and leave them straight away, then you know it's probably going to be save the best for last. And I think it's good. I think it's good. Like, it's still very strong. It's still very strong. And it means, I think it's meant to be intended that you don't go after the obsession as much. The only thing I will say is that if you're the obsession, obviously you get left alone a lot more. Which could be very interesting for, like, certain situations, I guess. Like, it will encourage... it will technically encourage a little bit more of a, I guess, a focus on the other three, but that's what it does anyway. So, I think it's good. I think it'll be fine. I would like to see how it is. Obsession with Plot Twist will be able to remove, save the best for last stacks. True. But, bear in mind, you, one, have to have Plot Twist. You can only use it once, and then once again at the very end. And you would have to have, if you're not the obsession, you'd have to have a way of making yourself the obsession. So I think the chances of that happening, unless you get healed. No, true, but if you think, like, we're saying that, oh, Plot Twist or Ruin, save the best for last, but it's the equivalent of, like, oh, I don't know, Distortion counters every aura perk. Yes, only 3 stacks, but take Barbecue Chili. Distortion counters Barbecue Chili. You're going to get your stack back before they hook somebody else, realistically. Like, if you down yourself, then get healed, you down yourself again. Okay, yeah, but think about how much time you're wasting. If you have to sit there, down yourself, and have somebody heal you, and then down yourself, and then heal you, and then... Do you know what I mean? It's like... No, you have a very good point that it's a counter, but... like every perk, there are counters. I'm not gonna worry about someone plot twisting. Not to mention, as well, if you see somebody plot twisting in a corner, and you know what they're doing, you can hopefully find them. You might be able to find them, you never know. You can always run that one where you can see them if they're on the floor. It'll be once every 100 games that happens. Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting point, though. It'll be very interesting to see that effect. But also, if you're wrong and they don't have save the best for last, then you're just wasting time. Grim Embrace. Now, Grim Embrace is interesting because I was excited to see what would happen with this. Grim Embrace blocks generators for a substantial duration. However, it only activates once and requires the killer to hook every survivor once. This is intriguing. It can be a little inconsistent and hard to activate. Therefore, we're adding a second effect on top of the existing. The first time each survivor is hooked, all gens are blocked for up to 12 seconds. 8, 10, 12 seconds. Once the killer moves at least 16 meters away from the hook. That is interesting. I like that. This will ensure the killer is always able to get some value out of their perk, even if the last elusive survivor manages to evade them, and rewards killers who switch targets. Very nice. That's brilliant. I like that. Think about, you know, if people actually want to run this, you're not gonna it's encouraging to not proxy camp or tunnel. You can obviously proxy camp a little bit, but very much like Devour, it encourages you to move away. More reason to use Grim. Exactly. I think that's cool. I think that's going to be really strong. And then the artist will have all of them. They'll have really strong perks. Grim Embrace has a reason to be used now. Exactly. I think that's really cool. I like that. I have no issue with that. I think that's going to be hella cool. This perk, Quick Gambit. This perk grants the other survivors a repair speed boost when you are being chased nearby. However, its range is fairly low, making it difficult to get close enough to survivors to benefit from without putting them in danger. We've increased the range to 36 meters, was 24, and we've reduced the repair speed bonus to 3, 4, and 5%, was 6, 7, 8. So, this was the Vittorio perk, is that right? Is it Vittorio's perk? The one where you're being chased and nearby people get a buff? That's going to be really interesting because if they're chasing them around the last 3 gens, that can be really strong. Because you're now getting that 8 kick limit. Once you reach that point, or or even then, you're going to be encouraged to chase. Once you start chasing more and more, that's going to be really interesting to see. Hex Ruin, we went over this, but I'll quickly say it again. Essentially, Hex Ruin is obviously every gen that's not being worked on regresses automatically. It's a hex, so it can be cleansed. It now no longer disables when a survivor is killed or sacrificed, which is in itself a nice buff to Ruin. A bit more valuable. I think this was an unnecessary nerf. Like, as in, the effect was unnecessary on this perk. Shadowborn, obviously, FOV is being removed, so it is now, when blinded by any means, gain 6, 8, and 10% haste effect for 10 seconds. I really like this, like I said before. Combines well with that Chucky one, so that, you know, you get stunned, or... Oh, sorry, you get blinded, they then get blinded, you then go 10% quicker. Also allows you to really catch up. Really catch up. Because even if they blind you and it goes away after 3 seconds, it really gives you that chance to catch up. I hope the effect starts maybe as it's coming out of the blind, but I imagine it will be once it considers you blind. Grimbait's going to be crazy, I know. Monitor and Muse, they essentially... So before, this would be field of view increase, and when you are in a chase, terror radius is bigger. When you're out of a chase, terror radius is smaller. It's exactly the same. You just don't have the field of view change, which I think is cool. Can I try that in the PTB? We'll give it a go. See what happens. Nice. Those are the perks. I'm really excited. I think all of this sounds great. Even the save the best for last. I'm really excited for that. I'll try it a little bit more then. That'd be cool. The newly renovated... Oh, sorry. The Ormond gameplay update. Now, Ormond, I actually don't mind this map. But the house can be a bit of a problem. And that fucking rock that's behind it can be a real annoyance. So, I'm excited for this. The newly renovated Mount Ormond Resort is open for the season. This update consists of layout changes to the front and back of the lodge, as well as miscellaneous loop adjustments. The front of the lodge currently has a long row of rocks stretching across it. This can get in the way and make it difficult to traverse the map. Additionally, there's no room in this portion of the map for any windows or pallets, essentially making it a big dead zone. Oh yeah, it was a massive dead zone. We've given this portion of the map an overhaul to create more interesting gameplay. I can see there's like benches and shit here, and like, yeah, they've opened it, they got that. That's really cool. I like that. The back of the lodge, meanwhile, is comprised of mostly picnic tables. Great for enjoying a meal in the freezing cold, but not very impactful when it comes to gameplay. Pallet loops around these tables are fairly short, making them incredibly unsafe. We've similarly adjusted this area to improve gameplay. So, from the looks of it, you've still got the pallet here. It might have expanded the pallet a little bit. I can't see any other pallet, at least not off this glance. Maybe they'll put one here. Who knows? That's pretty cool, though. I think that's going to be really interesting. I'm excited. Right, game modifiers. Here's the last bit. Whilst these will not be in the upcoming PTB, our first limited time modified Dead by Daylight Lights Out will be available to play in the coming months. Stay tuned for more information. Congratulations, you reached the end of this very long thing. Nice. That's interesting. I'm excited about this whole thing. I think it's going to be great. Fuck it hell. God, sorry, you had to listen to me talk for so bloody long there. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, it's 9:15 already. I have been talking for so fucking long. Wait for the swamp rework and Ultimate Weapon. Yeah, that can't come soon enough. We need Ultimate Weapon to change. That'll be cool.